Building approvals are up. Are we going to start seeing home builder inflation? Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because we're going to talk about some good news for everyone in the construction industry, or at least if you're working at that domestic scale, because building approvals have risen. They're continuing to go up, and I will bring up this chart here. You can see there, see the blue line? That's private sector houses. That's shooting up. That's the HomeBuilder Effect. Now, the concern I have with this is that it will overheat the housing market and it will drive costs up in that sector. And that concern is purely based on a completely personal perspective because I am about to do a renovation job this year and we're not using HomeBuilder because you can't do HomeBuilder with owner builder guys. There you go. See, this is all about creating jobs. Home builder, even the renovation things. You'll have a lot of people and a lot of architects advocate for we need more social housing, we need more, public housing. And now, there's two arguments put forward. I understand. I got all this at uni. Social housing was meant to be the best egalitarian bloody thing you can do. But who wants to live in social housing? And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with social housing. We have some in the street. They're a bunch of nice blokes. They've got about 4 cars in the street that they're fixing up that are all unregistered. But frankly, it's a good thing because it slows down people driving through the street. So you can't complain. But you don't want to live in social housing. You want your citizens to not be dependent on the state. Or is this some radical thinking here? Not being dependent on the state. People having individual agency. That's wrong thing, Florian. These opinions may seem really dated in 10 years' time. That I'm laughing and crying a little bit because I think it's probably true. So the reason home builder is good because for every 25 grand they give you, you've got to spend another 150,000 yourself to get the project going. So you're getting 25 grand if you spend 150 minimum. So for every $25,000 of government debt that they've incurred to pump into the economy now, they get another $150,000 minimum economic activity. For social housing, for every $25,000 they spend on social housing, they only get $25,000 of economic activity. And since all of that will be procured by government, it's not going to be done as efficiently or as smartly. You're not going to be watching your dollars as much as someone who's doing their own home. So it's going to be less effective. So that's why I'd argue against. I see the benefit of this program, and I'd argue against just putting everything into social housing. It's better to get more people working, more people independent, and more people in jobs than more people dependent on the state. But maybe that's just my radical opinion these days, sadly. What do you think, everyone? So, particularly for architects, I think I'm probably the only one that'll publicly admit to that. After a few beers, yeah, sure, they'll agree. But a lot of them won't. So, private sector houses approvals rose for the 5th consecutive month in November, and seasonally adjusted were at the highest recorded levels since December 1999, according to data released by the ABS today. Danielle Rossi, Director of Construction Statistics at the ABS, said approvals for private houses surged 40% since June. Federal and state housing stimulus measures and low interest rates have resulted in strong demand for detached dwellings. Now, the problem is we just don't want an overheating in that sector. We've seen what happens with a sector that's overheated. We can look at Sydney, look at the apartment construction boom that occurred there a few years ago, and now all of the issues that are manifesting in that sector. But the thing is, if people stuff up a specky, it can have a dramatic impact on people's lives, but it's not as catastrophic as a huge apartment building. Approvals for private houses rose 6.1% in November, while dwellings excluding houses remained at subdued levels, falling 3.9%, he said. The total number of dwellings approved rose 2.6% in November in seasonally adjusted terms. The rise in total dwellings was led by South Australia. South Australians at 18.8%. Now, we went and had a look at an article talking about where to buy real estate, and we looked at all of these properties, just realestate.com, everything in South Australia and Adelaide, and it was just going gangbusters. The cost of property there was just crazy. They were reaching levels of Brisbane. And some parts of it we're getting even higher. We're getting closer to Sydney or Melbourne. It's nuts compared to the average income there. And the state's flat. Adelaide's flat. Adelaide's a very flat city. If you haven't been there, guys, it's just flat. Particularly when you come from Brisbane, we're hilly everywhere and stuff everywhere. It's just bulldozed flat, and they're concrete power poles. Anyway, then Queensland at 6.5%. So Queensland and South Australia. New South Wales at 1.5%. Falls were recorded in Western Australia at 5.4%, Victoria 4.6%, and Tasmania 0.4%. Oh, Queensland was 6.5%, sorry, not 1.5%. So South Australia, Queensland, and New South Wales are all increasing, while WA, Victoria, and Tasmania are down. Approvals for private sector houses rose in all states in November. Queensland 17%, Western Australia 7.5%, South Australia 2.8%, Victoria 1.5%, and New South Wales 0.7%. The value of total buildings approved fell 8.4% in November, seasonally adjusted terms. The value of non-residential building drove the decrease, falling 27.4% after a strong October result. The value of total residential building increased 5.7%, comprising a 5.7% rise in new residential buildings and a 5.6% increase in alterations and additions. The value of residential alterations and additions reached an all-time high in November. So there you have it, everyone. We jump here, we can see the key statistics. Let's have a look. So the total dwelling units approved, so from November to November, up 15% from last year to this year. Private sector houses from November to November in a year are up 33.6%. 33%, a third. They're up a third at 11,489. Private sector dwellings, excluding houses, are down 13%. Houses are just going off. That's HomeBuilder right there. That's government stimulus. So I know we got a lot of tradies and builders that watch the channel. How's it going, guys? How's the game? I know we've got one gentleman, a surveyor in Adelaide, going gangbusters in the last few comments. How's it going now? Guys, this is nuts. A 33% increase. We're in our first recession in 28 years. This is government stimulus. This is them chucking everything at housing. Because it's what they do. It's what our politicians do. It's a very effective way at stimulating the economy. They'll get value for money. And, well, it's a vote winner. And a lot of people can see it. Look at dwelling units approved, seasonally adjusted. Look at that skyrocketing up. And there's private houses and excluding houses, as I said. And what do we have? Yeah, 18.8% South Australia. So there we have it, guys. There we have it. The value is going up too. The value is going up. So building approvals are up, houses are up, HomeBuilder is having an effect. Now the question I put to you is, will this lead to inflation in the cost of housing? Because when we have an injection of money in a specific point in the economy, in this case housing, a change in relative prices results. This is the candle-on effect. So the money supply is increasing in the housing sector and housing construction because of the government injection of this stimulus money. So we should see an inflation in that sector. Now, it hasn't materialized yet. Housing is down from September to September because the data is, well, not up to date. So we'll have to see it next quarter when this data comes out, if we get an inflation in housing. What do you reckon, guys? Have you put your fees up? There's the question. One for all the viewers. Are your tradie? Is it busy? Have you put your fees up? Your consultant? Are you flat out now? I know my engineer that we're using for our house, we wanted to make a change and he said we can't do anything else after this. We're flat out. It's just crazy. So there you go, guys. Make hay while the sun shines. If it's, if you're making lots of money, but it inflates away to value, but that's just the system we have. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. Support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.